hunting season's almost here again. I hunt. I'm not a huge hunter. I'm a sustenance hunter. I hunt to feed myself and my family if need be, and sometimes I do it just to make sure that I'm getting quality food, and I assume that a lot of you can agree with that, whether or not you're a hunter. But what I want to talk about here today is maintaining the essential tool for hunting. I mean, aside from the tool that actually makes the kill and harvests the animal, the next most important thing is your knife. And I'm really not a big fan of commercial hunting knives. Pretty much everything that's marketed out there is a thick, clunky tool that's designed by somebody who probably hunts, loves the idea of it, but probably doesn't have a lot of time working with a proper meat cutting knife like this. This is actually a boning knife, and this knife here can do the entire job from start to finish. Skinning, boning, gutting, whatever you gotta do. And if this knife was thicker, or if somebody built it thinking they're gonna have to hack through bone, then that person doesn't know how to do a proper butchering job, and you're wasting your money buying something like that, and you're gonna make yourself more work than you need to do. So that's just my 2 cents on that. So anyways, what I want to really show you here is how I maintain my meat cutting knife. I've worked in lots of places where they have machines, little countertop units where you just take your knife and you run it through the machine, and the wheels grind it out, and then it hones the final edge, and that'll put a nice edge on a knife. Even that actually takes some skill. There's people that don't seem to have consistent enough handle pressure or angle to even use machines. But those machines cost hundreds of dollars, and most shops are concerned about the bottom line, so they don't buy it. And as a result of that, my knife is sharper than probably 95% of the butcher knives of other people that I've worked with, because I've taken the time to learn to develop the skill to sharpen my knife by hand. And that's what I'm going to show you. This is what I use to sharpen my knife. It's just a simple 3x3 diamond stone, we'll call it. And this might look dangerous, but it really isn't. The fact is that you have to have your head in the game when you're doing this. You got to be aware of where your fingertips are, and you got to be aware of where your blade is. But this is how I do this. You use your close-up vision, and you have to watch, and you can rock the knife back and forth until you see that there's no gap between the cutting edge and that stone. You won't be able to see it on camera, but that's all you do. And then the motion that I use is this. It's a pull back towards myself with a slight cutting motion. When you first start doing this, this is about the speed you're going to want to go. Just like that. And you listen. And you can tell if you get off angle. You'll learn the sound. I'll try and do it intentionally here. That one's too much up on blade. That one's too much on shoulder. It's subtle, it's a slight difference, but eventually you will learn it. That was too much on shoulder. That's it. That's how I do this. There is one more step to it, and I'll show you that in a second. But first, if you thought that looked dangerous, how about this? Believe it or not, yeah, I sharpen this knife on this little 3x3 diamond stone as well. Same technique. You really got to be aware of what you're doing here. Pay attention. There's no rush. Because if you slip up on this, you got 3 fingertips laying on the ground down here. You'll have to pick them up and carry them with you to the hospital. But if you keep your head in the game and do this slowly and deliberately, there's nothing wrong with it. And then, as you develop skill and you learn this, you will get to be able to do it faster. There is no rush. You never want to rush this. But eventually you'll become very efficient at it if you practice it just like that. Now I'll show you the next step. But the tool I need for that is still over here. Now as I'm cutting, I use a steel, but when I do my maintenance, my knife maintenance like this, which I don't do as often as just tweaking the blade up or tuning it up, I will use a steel during the day, but for now I'm going to use this ceramic, which is in the shape of a steel. And this is the same thing. You got to be focused on your angle. You can use your eyes to find that right angle. You might even need a magnifying glass to do this. But once you've found that angle, then you'll slowly learn to hone that blade on that angle. And doing it slowly, you will learn the sound of it. And as you get used to that angle and that sound, you'll be able to do it faster. And eventually, you'll look just like a chef on the cooking channel.